Adeline Virginia Woolf, née Stephen, 25 January 1882 to 28 March 1941, was an English writer who is considered one of the foremost modernists of the 20th century and a pioneer in the use of stream of consciousness as a narrative device. Born in an affluent household in Kensington, London, she attended King's College London and was acquainted with the early reformers of women's higher education. Having been homeschooled for much of her childhood, mostly in English classics and Victorian literature, Woolf began writing professionally in 1900. During the interwar period, Woolf was a significant figure in London literary society and a central figure in the influential Bloomsbury group of intellectuals. She published her first novel, titled The Voyage Out, in 1915, through the Hogarth Press, a publishing house that she established with her husband, Leonard Woolf. Her best-known works include the novels Mrs. Dalloway, 1925, To the Lighthouse, 1927, and Orlando, 1928, and the book-length essay A Room of One's Own, 1929, with its dictum, "A woman must have money and a room of her own if she is to write fiction." Woolf became one of the central subjects of the 1970s movement of feminist criticism, and her works have since garnered much attention and widespread commentary for inspiring feminism, an aspect of her writing that was unheralded earlier. Her works are widely read all over the world and have been translated into more than 50 languages. She suffered from severe bouts of mental illness throughout her life and took her own life by drowning in 1941 at the age of 59. Works. Woolf is a major novelist and one of the pioneers among modernist writers using stream of consciousness as a narrative device, alongside her contemporaries Marcel Proust, Dorothy Richardson, and James Joyce. Woolf's reputation declined sharply after World War II, but her importance was re-established with the growth of feminist criticism in the 1970s. She began writing professionally in 1900. The first of her writings to be accepted for publication, Haworth, November 1904, a journalistic account of a visit to the Bronte family home at Haworth, was published anonymously in a women's supplement to a clerical journal, The Guardian, in December 1904. From 1905, she wrote for the Times literary supplement. Her first novel, The Voyage Out, was published in 1915 by her half-brother's imprint, Gerald Duckworth and Company Limited. This novel was originally titled Melimbrosia, but Woolf repeatedly changed the draft. An earlier version of The Voyage Out has been reconstructed by Woolf scholar Louise de Salvo and is now available to the public under the intended title. De Salvo argues that many of the changes Woolf made in the text were in response to changes in her own life. Woolf went on to publish novels and essays as a public intellectual to both critical and popular acclaim. Much of her work was self-published through the Hogarth Press. Virginia Woolf's peculiarities as a fiction writer have tended to obscure her central strength. She is arguably the major lyrical novelist in the English language. Her novels are highly experimental. A narrative, frequently uneventful and commonplace, is refracted, and sometimes almost dissolved, in the characters'